I'd like to thank the Grace FM, the virtues of the masters, and the compassion and mercy of the grand predecessors, transmitters, lecturers, temple masters, and everyone for giving me the opportunity today to talk about today's topic, which is the Tao Te Ching, or the Classic of the Way and the Virtue, chapter 32. Okay, the title is sometimes referred to as 知止, which means know, well, where to rest. Okay, I mean, 止 means to halt or stop. Okay, but the rest is, I think it's better connotation, which we will get to in the middle of the chapter. Okay, so it's know, literally it just means know to stop, okay, or know to halt. All right, so this chapter is it's moderate, it's just slightly above average length. Okay, so it's not too long, it's too long, even though I have 8 pages of outline. But anyway, okay, so it's divided into 2 main sections. All right, so it's the first 8 phrases is the first section, and that's subdivided into 2 subsections. First 3 phrases is basically talking about the Tao. Okay, I mean the Tao. Okay, all right, the subject matter. Okay, and then the second subsection of the of the first section is talking about describing. Okay, yeah, describing what it's like. Yeah, more or less, or how can we see how can we be harmonious with it? Let's put it that way, okay? Or live with it or follow it. Okay. Then the second half or second section is basically phrases 9 to 14. Okay, and it's subdivided into 3, you can say, subsections. One, it talks about the first one is talks about it's given a name. Okay, let's put it that way. And then the second subsection, that's where to know where to rest or stop. And then the conclusion, okay, describing it, it's like the ocean. Okay, all right. So let's go to the outline. All right, okay. So the first phrase, oops, my notes here. Okay, so it's translated as the eternal nameless Tao. Its simplicity, although imperceptible, cannot be treated by the world as subservient or as insignificant, unimportant. Well, yeah, okay, or as, how can I say, as not being the lead. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, or not. Okay, all right. Just understand, this word is used a lot in the Tao Te Ching, right? 常. So just so you know, do you know that the original Tao Te Ching, when it was written like 2,500 years or so ago, did not use this word. You know that? Yeah. It uses this word, 恒, which literally means eternal or permanence. Yeah, you can say permanent. 常 is more constant. I mean, it could mean internal too, especially in Buddhism. Okay, what you said. All right. Okay. So sometime, probably 1,000 years after Lao Tzu, I think it's either the Han or Tang dynasties, one of those times. There was an emperor. His name was Han, I think it's Yonghen or somebody. I forgot who. But anyway, or maybe it's the Ming Dynasty. It doesn't matter. It's just and there's an emperor. His name contained this word Hun. So scholars in China do not want to disrespect the emperor, because it's like you are, using his name in vain whenever you use this word Hun, which was in the Tao Te Ching at that time. So a lot of the scholars then, thinking about what word to substitute. Okay. So they came up with the word Cang, okay, to substitute for eternal. So just so you know, that's a little background. So now you know. Okay. The basic meaning of the first phrase is that the Tao has always existed and it will always exist. Its existence is eternally constant, changeless, and is beyond human language and concept of names. Okay, so that's what the whole thing means. Okay, another understanding is that's just the first phrase, by the way. Okay, Dao Cang Wu Ming. Okay, because the Tao existed long before humanity, it is beyond the concept of names and labels, since it's nameless. Okay, the eternal nameless. Okay, further understanding is eternal, constant, and nameless are the two primary characteristics of the Tao. So if you were asked to describe what is Tao, well, you can say it's eternal or constant. Okay, always the same, and it has no labels, no name. Okay, but then you call it the Tao. But then that's because Lao Tzu was forced to call it something, right? What's that? Chapter 20 or something like that. Okay, 25. I think it was also. Okay, so all right. Also, this first phrase clarifies the third line from chapter 1. Okay. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. Okay? Or, yeah, it's right. Wu Ming Tian Di Zhi Si. Okay, so it's eternal and nameless. You can say synonymous with the Tao. Okay? All right, now let's go to the second phrase, just the 3 words. It's simplicity, although imperceptible. Okay? Okay, now. All right, so Pu is very important phrase, right? Yeah, well, very important word in Tao Te Ching. It appears 8 times. It means honest, plain, rough, simple. Okay, all right, unpretentious. In this case, we use it to describe it as unrefined wood. Okay, all right. Now, xiao means little. Okay, literally means little, but in our case, okay, it means, yeah, it's imperceptible. It's subtle. It's very subtle. Okay, it's tiny, minute. Okay, it's imperceptible. It's very subtle. All right. Okay. Let's go to the 2. I'm combining the 2 phrases, last 2 phrases, second and third. Okay. So the basic meaning is, although the simplicity of Tao may seem insignificant, okay, or you can say very subtle, okay, but must not be regarded as unimportant, right? So subservient in this case, okay, well, let's define that word. Okay, 臣, that's what it means, okay? It literally means a minister, advisor, a counselor. Okay, it could be an official statement. Okay, but in this context, it represents something that's not important. Okay, not significant. Okay, so that's what the phrase means. All right. Okay, so although the Tao may be its simplicity, right? The simplicity of the Tao seems very insignificant or minute or subtle, but it's not unimportant. Okay, we should not regard it as insignificant. Okay, another, in life, it is often the details that matter the most, right? Someone once said the divine is in the details. Some people said the devil is in the details. I mean, you get the idea. It just means that the details it's the ones that matter. Those small little details that seem unimportant or insignificant, but that's what makes it important or matter. Okay? All right. So many times in everyday life, for example, it is the smallest or simplest things that often make the biggest difference. Little or simple things that bring about great joy, right? Okay. All right. By the way, there's a deeper meaning of pu. It's the metaphor for our, remember that uncut wood or unrefined wood, lumber? It's a metaphor for our Buddha nature because it's originally very pure and honest. And you can say simple, plain, right? But okay, it doesn't need to undergo cutting and polishing because it's already pure. It's already contains everything or self-sufficient. Okay, so the deeper understanding is, although the Buddha nature essence is imperceptible, right? It's minute, subtle, etc. So small that it is invisible, but nothing in the world could dare be its master. Okay, so although our Buddha nature essence is imperceptible, invisible, and intangible, it cannot be treated as insignificant. Why? Because without our Buddha nature essence, we will not be alive or even exist. All right? So that's why it's so important or significant. All right? So the implication is that the Tao essence, which is eternal and nameless, is truly real. Okay? It's real. It's truly vast. Okay? The eternal nameless Tao is also our Buddha nature essence, whose simplicity may seem imperceptible or unnoticed by us, yet encompasses the entire phenomenal universe, as well as the entire cosmic void. Okay? So that's how vast our Buddha nature essence is also. Okay? It's invisible, right? It's intangible, but it is also vast. Okay? All right. Let's go to the subsection 2 of section 1. Okay. So now it's talking about how do we can be harmonious with it. Okay. If the sarvan can hold on to it, all will follow by themselves. Okay. Hou Wang. Hou means duke. Okay. Literally, that's what it means, duke. It's the second of the 5 orders of feudal nobility, which is Duke, it's the second. It's the first. Duke, Marquis, Count, Viscount, Gentleman. All right? Okay? All right? Okay. King would be the first, I guess. You say the first of the order. King, Duke, Marquis. Okay. All right. Let's go to, this word, Wan Wu is also used a lot in the Tao Te Ching. It literally means 10,000 things. So you're going to see, if you look up the translations of Tao Te Ching, a lot of versions use the literal translation as 10,000 things. It's not really a good translation because in this case, one just means many, myriad, countless, innumerable, numerous, etc. Okay, so it just means all things in nature. It could be animate, inanimate, etc. Okay, all right. Okay, so here, deeper understanding of Hou Wang is literally means marquis or dukes and kings. Okay, so we are servants when our Buddha nature is our master, when we are led by our true master or true nature. So we're just like servants. Okay, so saying that it's talking about not, literally, yes, superficially, he's saying, kings and dukes and marquis, can hold. He's not just addressing it, talking about them. He's talking about us too. Okay, all right. So the deeper understanding of this first phrase, is to be able to keep to the Tao is to be with the Tao is a sarvan. I think we also talked about it in chapter 18, one of those previous chapters. Okay, talked about that. All right. So the basic meaning of line is if a ruler can rule wisely by holding on to the principles of Tao, then everything will fall into place and all will follow this leadership of wisdom. Okay. So that's the superficial meaning of this phrase. Okay. He's addressing, if you can say, he's addressing it to a ruler. Okay. However, there's another one is understanding that if we allow our Buddha nature to be our master, and we are the holders of the Tao principles and the rulers of our destiny, then everything in our lives will fall into place and all will follow our lead in a direction of our choosing. So basically it just means that if we let our Buddha nature, the Tao essence, to be our master, okay, then really destiny, we are the rulers of that. Destiny, you can say destiny is in your hands, all right? And others then will follow us, okay, in the direction of our choosing, okay. Or another way to understand it, or further understand is when our Buddha nature is in control, we're masters of our destiny, okay. So the deeper understanding is if we are able to abide to follow, to conform by our eternal Buddha nature essence, then all things, such as the 6 roots, right, will know that their own status and standing is very small. So all will be guests and dare not be masters or servants, you can say, okay. But in this case, this means guests, okay. When we have our Buddha nature as our master, all things will submit to it. That is, follow the will of our Buddha nature essence. Okay? All right, that's the deeper meaning. Higher understanding is as servants, our 6 roots will not become our masters or will not be. Okay? The 6 roots are the 5 sense organs plus the mind. Okay? All right. Okay. Implication. Because the Tao nature, Buddha nature essence is connected or linked to the heavenly principles, thoroughly permeated or completely penetrated. As long as our Buddha nature essence is our master, then we will be aligned with the ways or workings of heaven and earth. Humans follow the way of nature, which is the Tao. Okay, so that's the last line of chapter 25. Okay, a similar idea. Okay, so he already sort of already stated that idea in the previous chapters. Okay, so the key point, being able to abide by our eternal Buddha nature essence, all things, including our 6 roots, will naturally follow of their own accord and not dare be the master. So in our daily lives, we must inspire our Buddha nature to be the master. Okay, so that's how we could be in harmony with the Tao. Okay, all right. Okay, so heaven and earth together in harmony will rain sweet dew. People will not need to force it. It will adjust by itself. Yeah, this is a very neat line. Okay. How come I'm not? Okay. All right. Okay. Where is that? Okay. He. Okay. He is harmony. Just understand that. Okay. It means harmonize. Okay. All right. So the base meaning of the first phrase, those 4 words, heaven and earth in harmony, together in harmony. So it just means when the Tao prevails in the world, the entire world or heaven and earth is balanced and harmonious. Now, when we say prevails, okay, now, if you look it up in a dictionary, generally we say it can mean to overcome, to be victorious, right? You prevail over your enemy or obstacles, etc., etc. In this case, it doesn't mean that. So it comes from, okay, 道之行也. Well, I'll get to it. I think, yeah. Okay, it's in this section here. Okay, it's talking about when the Tao is everywhere, or more precisely, when the Tao is being followed by everyone everywhere. okay, or that it is ubiquitous. It is practiced everywhere, all the time. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, all right. So that's when everything will be harmonious and balanced. Okay, so here it is. When we are with the Tao, holding on to it, when we are on the path of Tao, our entire life or the world is balanced and harmoniously or harmonious. Okay, so it's internal and external. Okay, our lives or individual and the whole world. Okay, further understanding. Heaven regenerates and the earth nourishes the entire world naturally and spontaneously. Okay, just like that. When we say, on the natural world, okay, when everything is in harmony, that's what happens. The heaven regenerates and the earth nourishes naturally and spontaneous. It's nonstop. Okay, all right. Deeper understanding. First, the entire world is in accord with Tao naturally and spontaneously. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go to the second phrase. Okay. This is going to be interesting. Okay. So second phrase. Okay. Gan. This was gan means sweet. Lu means dew, nectar, syrup. Okay. Okay. Dew or nectar. Okay. So the basic meaning of the second phrase is Now it follows from the first phrase, when the Tao prevails in the world, right? When the Tao is being practiced by everyone, everywhere, right? Then sweet dew will rain down. Okay, that's what the second phrase means. Okay, well, what does that mean? What's sweet dew? It's obviously a metaphor. Okay, from an agrarian society point of view, this rain of sweet dews is the greatest gift from heaven, because it will allow farmers to grow food, right? To nourish humanity, right? So the sweet dew, you can say that's rain, or you can say heaven's gift or blessing, right? So we say, anyway, okay, all right, okay. So this sweet dew is the gift, right? Heaven's gift of heaven for regenerating and nourishing the earth naturally and spontaneously. It gives life to the land without damaging the land, like a heavy storm, like a hurricane, for example, okay? Allowing crops to thrive, able to enrich and nourish, or literally means moisten, okay, all living things. So that's what this sweet dew represents, okay? All right. So now that's in the natural world, right? In nature, right? But it also applies to our lives. How? Okay. So in our life, the rain or sweet dew can manifest as, for example, loving relationships. What does that mean? Okay. In the Book of Changes, right? I Ching, heaven is, or yang, is the yang project, is male, and earth, di, is yin or female. So heaven and earth together in harmony. So that's the loving relationship, okay, between humans, okay, between male and female in this case, okay, all right. So okay. Also, meaningful work that we enjoy, not just work that pays the bills, but really satisfying and purposeful work. Okay, we can all, right, understand that in our lives. Okay, and it could also mean, okay, this is more material right now. It's affluence, abundance, prosperity, depending on how one defines them. Maybe material wealth, but also in terms of loving relationships, friendship, goodwill, work, etc. Okay, and then lastly, our health, our vitality, our energy, able to fully sample or taste, or you can say cherish and enjoy the zest of life. Okay, so that's what the rain of sweet dew. Sweet dew also means to each one of us. Okay, so let's go to the third phrase, which we translated as, people have no need to force it, the Tao in this case. Okay, it will adjust by itself. Okay, all right. Where are we right here? Okay, basic meaning. Third phrase. Once again, the key is from the first phrase is just when the Tao prevails in the world. That is, when the Tao is practiced or followed and practiced by everyone, everywhere in the world, then people will not need to force the rain of sweet dew because it will adjust itself. So there's this automatic mechanism, if you will. So, another understanding is if we need more rain or sweet dew, it will rain more. If we need less, it will rain less. Right? It's like the rain or nature's response to our will, to the human's will. And why? Because we humans are what? Practicing, following the Tao. So we're at one with this Tao, and nature is at one with the Tao. So therefore, it will follow our will. Yeah, neat, right? So if we need more rain, it'll rain more. If we need less, it'll rain less. That's the ideal, or you can say utopian state. Okay. All right. Further understanding of the line. When a ruler, now we talk about ruler now. When a ruler follows the Tao consistently, people also will in turn follow the ruler on their own. Yeah. Without forcing them, for they will adjust by themselves. So it's natural. So as long as the ruler is, it's just, you can say it's following the Tao. Okay. It's, practicing, following that, ruling by example, we can say, right? With integrity and all that, honesty, fairness, equality, all that. Okay. Or, without bias, et cetera, right? Then people will say, hey, that's a worthy leader worth following, right? Okay. So the leaders don't have to force the people to follow him. Okay. All right. So here it is. This is a good one. Okay. So that's deeper understanding. On the national level, why we're talking about leaders now, the rain of sweet dew representing good things for the kingdom will also occur on its own. There's no need for anyone to force it or chase it. So it's similar to the Confucian aspiration of an ideal state in the world of great harmony. Okay. That's the Book of Rites, Book 9. Okay. 礼运大同步, okay, 礼记, okay, it's called the Book of Rites, okay, all right, you guys can look it up, it's been translated and it's the very first, the very first phrase, the very first phrase of this World of Great Harmony is 大道之行也, okay, 大道, the great Tao prevails. Xing means it's an action and practice. It can mean motion, but it just means that when it's, practiced by everyone everywhere. So it's often translated as prevails, because if you say when the Tao is it's followed and practiced by everyone everywhere in the world, it's kind of long. Okay. All right. So this is very important. Okay. All right. Higher understanding. Now, talking about personal level, when the Buddha nature is the master, our life is balanced and harmonious, and good things, the sweet dew, will come without having to force it. Yeah. Okay. So, right? Because, so that's why if we follow the Buddha nature, because the Buddha nature is, remember, it's self-sufficient. It's perfect, right? So it has, what is one of its functions or manifestations? Wisdom. Really is great wisdom, or mahaprajna, or bore, right? So that bore or mahaprajna or wisdom, or we call it divine wisdom, okay, or marvelous wisdom, will guide us, okay? And so those are the sweet things that will come, okay? Sorry, good things or sweet dew, okay? All right, so the implication is this. Yeah, I don't have much time. Okay, when the Tao prevails in the world, the entire world, heaven and earth, kingdom, and our life is balanced and harmonious. The Tao prevails in the world when people hold on to, follow, and practice the Tao. Heaven and earth will evenly enrich each place without having to force it. Okay? So that's the key. When the Tao, great Tao, prevails in the world, 大道之行, okay, that's from the world of great harmony. Heaven and earth will very evenly provide its gifts or blessings to the entire world naturally. Just the same as for human society as in the world of great harmony. Okay? All right. I gotta move. I'm gonna use up about 90 minutes, I think. Okay? Just bear with me for today. Okay. So the next phrase, and we're still in subsection 2. Oh, sorry. No, we're in the first section of section 2. Okay? First subject. Okay. Established since the beginning, there were names. And names came to exist everywhere. Okay, so all right. Let's go to the meaning here. Okay, so as human consciousness began to manifest in the world, so too did the human tendency to categorize everything, to name and label everything in order to better understand the world. Okay, and that's how human, we could say intelligence. Okay, human consciousness, human intelligence. Okay, all right. Okay, understanding of the first phrase. Okay, established since the beginning there were names. Is that having names means humans have set up rules, institutions, and systems in the process of better understanding world around them. Since the beginning human. Okay, so that's how our civilization started to develop or to prosper, to thrive, to grow. Okay, it's because once humans, we start labeling things or categorizing things. Okay, so that allows us to set up rules, rules, institutions, systems, because that will help us better understand our surrounding, the natural world. Okay, so that's how science got started. Institutions, social institutions like government, laws, etc. Okay, all right. So further understanding, having rules, institutions, and systems, or which are all names, help humans to better manage, implement, and carry out the work required for human civilization to develop, advance, and progress, right? Okay, so it helps. So these are just tools. Just don't forget, these are aids, okay, tools or methods, okay? All right, now let's go to the second phrase. Basic meaning of second phrase is, okay, throughout history, humanity has continuously expanded its understanding of the world through more names, more words, categories, rules, knowledge, etc. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, etc., etc. Okay, so it just means complexity arises. Okay, things get sophisticated. Okay, okay. So another understanding of second phrase is, on the other hand, humans sometimes forget that such tools, right? These are tools, rules, institutions, etc., have limitations. Okay, they're only tools. Okay, all right. So the additional understanding is that Lao Tzu wanted to remind us that the Tao, remember, is nameless. That's the very first phrase. Okay, the eternal Tao, nameless Tao. Okay, it's nameless. Its essence is indescribable or unimaginable, you can say. So because we forget this, we end up becoming reliant and fixated or attached on names such as rules, institutions, systems, laws, etc., etc., etc. Okay? All right. So deeper understanding. Being reliant and fixated or attached to names, we become attached to the applications, right, or functions of the Tao essence, and so forget the eternal nameless Tao. Okay, so we become attached to the functions instead of the essence. Okay, all right. So higher understanding, becoming attached and fixated to names, we forget they are only labels and lose sight of what they indicate, okay, or what they stand for, okay? Implication, we tend to focus on the names and become attached to their details, the intricacies, all those little nitty-gritty things, okay, the nuts and bolts, that we don't realize that they are just representations for objects and things, not the real essence, right? Remember, in Buddhism, they say all phenomena, all physical reality as we know of, it's all illusions, right? All illusions, because they're just manifestations of the essence. They are the functions or applications, okay? So this is a reminder to free ourselves from this attachment and pay attention to the essence rather than the label, okay? Or the function or the application or manifestation, okay? So here's the key point. By focusing on names, not understanding that they are just labels for convenience, is like focusing on the finger pointing to the moon. So much that we don't even notice the moon anymore. Just like people who no longer acknowledge or recognize the eternal nameless Tao essence anymore. Which is more important, the essence or the label? Okay. So remember, in Zen Buddhism, this is a very often used metaphor example. They say, when we talk about the Tao, we're pointing to the finger, or when we're talking about cultivation or the path, right? The path cultivation, we're pointing to the moon. The moon is the destination, or it represents the essence, the Tao. So we don't focus on the finger or on the hand that's pointing, right? The hand or the finger that's pointing is just a tool, a function, an application of the essence. Okay? All right. So that's what that. Okay. So we're now in subsection 2 of the last section. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, too much. Oh. All right. Here's just very important. This is the whole theme of this chapter. Okay. One should know where to rest. Knowing where to rest, thus avoiding danger. Okay. So is there a safe room someplace, or safe place, safe castle someplace in the world that I can hide, cave or whatever? No, that doesn't mean that. Okay. Basic meaning of first phrase is, this is specific now, very narrow. This can refer to the previous line above about being attached to names and putting stop to that. Yeah, okay. So that's very, because we say know where to stop at. Okay, 2, don't forget, rest, stop. Okay, it all means to stop. Okay, so that's very narrow about when we're talking about the labels, right? The previous line. Okay, all right. So that's more specific. So that's one meaning, very, very basic. Okay. All right. Here's another one. Now it's a little bit broader. Okay. In a broader context, it can be about moderating the moderating Tao. Remember, where we stop well before reaching extreme or going overboard. Okay. So in general, we say the middle path, the middle way, don't go to either extreme, right? Remember? Okay. Previous chapter, we talk about those extremes, right? Okay. All right. Previous chapters. Okay. I think chapter 28. It doesn't matter. Previous chapters. Okay. All right. Further understanding. To know where to stop is wise, but unfortunately it's rare in life. Most of us tend to go overboard, right? Like, especially when we get obsessed with something, right? Be it obsessed with making money. All right. I mean, so you just go overboard. We don't know when to stop, where to rest, right? Or young, especially, adults too. Today with those internet games or whatever, you play for 24 hours nonstop. we don't know when to stop. Okay, that's excess, right? Everything. Okay, I mean, in terms of too many things, right? You know, what we wear, what we shop, what we eat, etc., etc. Okay, just too much. Okay, all right. So that's the danger. Okay, so another understanding is when things are going well, you should stop. Right? Remember that phrase, quit while you're ahead. Okay. It's a bad idea not knowing when to stop because you're going to go to excess and that's where we will be in danger. Okay. All right. So here's a deeper meaning of know where to rest or where to stop. Okay. This is very important. Okay. This is the key. All right. Ooh. Okay. All right. Okay. Deeper meaning is to rest or stop at the highest goodness or excellence, to attain or reach the state of perfection, to reside in or be at one with our true self or Buddha nature. That's 自于自善. Okay. 自于自善. That's from Great Learning. Okay. Great Learning, paragraph 1. Okay. Very first paragraph. Okay. Not the first line, but it's the first paragraph. Okay. First section, you can say. All right. All right. So that's what it means. Okay. So basic meaning of the second phrase, which says knowing where to rest, thus avoiding danger. Okay. So it just means by knowing where to stop before reaching an extreme, we can avoid hurting ourselves and others, right? Yeah, that's pretty obvious, right? Another understanding, for example, in words, by knowing when to stop talking, we can avoid repeating ourselves and going overboard, leading to heated arguments, etc., right? Okay, so we have to be smart with our words, okay? Or when we talk, okay? So we shouldn't talk too little, and yet we shouldn't talk too much, okay? Just the right amount, okay? The right proportion. Similarly, in actions, okay? To know when to stop indulging, we can avoid harming our health and social relations, right? We don't want to overwork to death or overplay to death, right? Okay, so, right? Okay, so additional understanding, second phrase. Going too far does not mean, though, pushing the envelope in our journey of cultivation. It is a very good idea to go beyond the edge of our abilities to test and better ourselves in order to challenge and advance ourselves so that we may obtain a victory over ourselves. Now, next chapter 30, 33, we'll talk a little bit about that. And 34 to some extent. Okay? So pushing ourselves. We want to push ourselves. And that's also part of, so 33, 34 does talk a little bit about, go in a little bit more detail a little bit. Okay. Pushing the envelope means this would mean apply, about what we call vigorous progress. Okay. 精进. Okay. 精进. That's the, fourth parameter, right? Is it the fourth? Yeah. 不是. Yeah. 不是持戒忍辱精进. The fourth parameter. Okay. Or the first, what we call fourth perfection of the six perfections. Okay. All right. So it just means that you do want to continuously progress. And why is that? Because in our journey of cultivation, it's not smooth sailing. That's the important thing to understand, right? We're going to meet obstacles. We're going to encounter obstacles and hindrances. So we have to increase our abilities, right? So by having more higher abilities or better abilities or more abilities, then you can overcome those obstacles. Get it? So that's why you do want to push yourself, right? Okay? To better ourselves. Just like tempering ourselves, right? As a steel, that gets, what's that? Heated, right? Heated and cooled, right? constantly, right? Not just once, but many, many times, and it will make the steel stronger, right? Okay, same idea. Okay, all right. So deeper understanding. Okay, here. To rest or stop at the highest goodness or excellence, or to attain, reach the state of perfection, is to abide within our Buddha nature essence. Our Buddha nature essence should be the starting point, which is from the within to the external, not from the external to the internal, as in the objects of the six roots. So to avoid danger means to transcend the three realms. What three realms? Realm of desire, forms, and formless. Okay? All right. So that means we can transcend, we can avoid danger, which is we can transcend these three realms, which means we're enlightened. Okay? All right. So that's to reach the highest excellence or goodness, to achieve perfection. Okay. So to rest or stop at the highest goodness, excellence, is to be at one with our true nature or Buddha nature, which is already perfect. Okay, that's a key teaching of Surangama Sutra. So our Buddha nature essence is the origin or source of everything. The essence is the source of all functions. So to avoid danger also means to be able to return to our original, true, permanent home. Okay? All right, so the implication is to know where to rest or stop is to reside in the highest goodness or excellence of our true self or Buddha nature essence, which is the state of perfection where there are no delusions, no illusory thoughts, only purity and stillness. Okay, so it's similar to what letting go of all karmic affinities and not having a thought arise. It's similar, okay, similar to that. All right. Okay, so basically this is a process and also a goal. Okay, so that's what that means. Okay, all right. Okay, to rest or stop or reside at our highest excellence, the Buddha nature essence, means we have attained the state of perfection and are masters of our destiny as sovereigns. Remember, right? We can transcend the three realms and samsara. We can return to our original, true, permanent home. And by conforming with or being at one with our Buddha nature, having it as our master, such as having event, we will not create karma in our thoughts, words, and deeds, while being in harmony with people, living beings, and the world. Thus, there is no danger nor sense of unease or worry, because we have nothing to dread or fear. Good, yeah? Okay. That's very ideal, of course. That's why you have to be at the highest excellence, okay, or achieving perfection, which is being at one or reside with our Buddha nature essence. Okay, it's the same. Okay. All right. Last subsection of the conclusion. Okay. So an example for the existence of the Tao in the world is like valley streams that run into rivers and oceans. Okay, previous chapter we talk about being like the valley streams, right? Okay, same idea, the water course. I think I forgot what chapter, but I think it's one of the 18 or 20 around there. Okay, all right. Okay, basic meaning of first phrase is okay. This refers to either the presence or absence of Tao cultivation in humans, that is the world of humanity, whether humans are following the Tao or not. Okay, so he's talking about whether, example for the existence, whether it exists, whether it's present, it's being practiced by humans. Okay, all right. So another understanding is, although the Tao itself is always present, it can be neglected, through ignorance or willful dismissal in the form of people not following or applying the Tao, right? Okay, all right. Previous chapters, we talked about that too, all right? There are three common ways people fail at Tao cultivation. Okay, first one. Oops. Okay, we accept distortions that sound like Tao, but that really aren't the Tao. So you'll hear, especially in a lot of the New Age translations or interpretations, is that, we should be, what's it called that? Carefree, carefree. We don't have to set on a goal. Okay, so let go of goals. We just can wonder about, because that's like the Tao, so carefree without worries, etc., etc. Or sages have no goals. That's wrong. Okay, in chapter 34, 33. Sorry, we'll talk about that. Get a little more detail sometime. Well, we'll have a couple examples. All right, but anyway, okay. So just be careful. There's the moon. Okay, a moon. Okay, we have to get there or reach the other shore, if you will. Okay, so there is a goal. There's an aim. There's an aim in life. So if you say let go, have no goals, that means what? What does life mean? I don't know. There's no goals, no purpose, right? Okay, no aim. Okay, all right. So number 2, look for secrets that promise everything for little or no effort. Yeah, that's another big selling point of the New Age interpretation of Tao Te Ching. Okay, all right. So that's very important to realize. We fail to realize the great result. Failing to realize great results is like an epic journey composed of many small steps, right? We have a goal, so therefore there's a journey, right, to reach that goal. Okay, so all right, so understand that it's not smooth sailing. That's true, but you do one little step at a time. Eventually, you'll get there. Okay, so there's no shortcuts. All right, all the sages, Lao Tzu, Confucius, Buddha, have pointed us the way, the direction to follow. Their lives are examples, okay, for us to follow. So that's the epic journey that we should emulate. Okay, we should learn. We should follow. Okay, all right. So there are no shortcuts. I say, if you just chant, do some chanting of some special supernatural mantra, secret mantra that I'm gonna give you, then you can get there in an instant. Wrong. That's a snake oil salesman. Okay, all right. That's false. Okay, all right. Because Lao Tzu, Confucius, Buddha never taught that. Okay, never said that. Okay, so misapply. Also, that third one is misapply Tao teachings to make excuse for this. Okay, that's easy. Okay, go with the flow. Let it be when action is appropriate, but they want to avoid it. Okay, so that's an excuse. Just go with the flow. Right? Didn't we say we flow with karmic affinity? Just let it be. See, that's not applying wisdom. Okay, we also have to apply wisdom. Okay, so yes, a lot of times we have to flow with the karmic affinity, but there's a catch, or there's an overriding factor, which is we have to do so with wisdom. Okay, all right. So there may be action that's appropriate, even though we are flowing with the karmic affinity. Okay, so that's why we have to manifest that Mahaprajna, that divine wisdom. Okay, that's why we have to hold on to the Tao, to abide, abide within our Buddha nature essence. Okay, so another one is, some might say, I should treat myself better or live in the moment. That's when they wish to indulge in distractions. Okay, so that's just an excuse. All right, so we got to be careful. All right, with these, you can say these are I don't say self-created. Yeah, partly it's self-created obstacles. Okay, so we just have to be careful. Okay, all right. We're going to talk about the second phrase. Okay, which is basic meaning. Now, in the context of ancient kingdoms, as the kingdom or empire grows strong, it will receive tributes and allegiance from nearby states, just like the ocean accepting many river waters. Right? Okay. So that's on a ancient kingdom context. Now, in the personal context, this is similar to the rain of sweet do, the more you are in tune or aligned with the Tao, the more everything works out in your favor. The people around you are supporting and rooting for you. Okay, so that's the more personal level. Okay, so here's the further understanding. The vastness of the ocean is a metaphor for tolerance and compassion. No narrow-minded pettiness in true cultivators of Tao, always accommodating of others and very broad-minded or magnanimous, not offended by ideas that differ from their own. Okay, so that's, we call chapter 8, Be Like Water, right? Talked about like that. All right, talked about the virtues of water. Okay, all right. Another understanding, additional understanding. An example of the Tao is the entire heaven and earth, which the Tao gave birth to, nurtured, regenerates, and enriches all things, right? The sweet dew, right? Okay. Deeper understanding. The Tao is like the ocean where all the valley streams and rivers flow to, okay? And then another understanding, the ocean is a metaphor of the Tao. Like just as all rivers flow into the ocean, ultimately everything must return to the Tao. 万法归一 literally means all things return to the one, but the one is the Tao. Okay, so this is a further expansion of chapter 8. Be like water. Okay, just a further expansion. Okay, all right. The implication is the Tao is like the large rivers, and oceans, which accept all the small flows of streams and do not reject them. Okay, so the key point is, being able to hold on to the Tao is to be a servant, is to attain the state of perfection, is to be a master of one's destiny, where one's life is balanced and in harmony, where one is in harmony and at one with heaven and earth, where one is at one with or resides within the eternal Buddha nature essence. This is to know where to rest or stop. Okay, so that's the conclusion. But here is more important, more practical. Some of the key practical points of this chapter. There are 5. I'm just going to go over it quickly. I'll probably take another 10 minutes. All right. So it'll be an hour and 10 minutes or so, 15. Okay. So the first one, important, is practice plainness and simplicity. That's Pu. Okay. So that's okay. That's here. Okay. Pu or here. Okay. All right. We practice. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's point out in section 1. So here, there are 5 parts. I mean, it's really 4. I mean, simple. It's live your life in accordance with the 4 normalities or 4 normal. 4平. So simplify your life, being ordinary. Reduce complexity, unclutter, etc. That's 平凡. Maintain a regular, routine, unusual lifestyle. 平常. Be plain spoken in your communication. Simple and non-extravagant living, etc. 平淡. Treat others with direct honesty, sincerity, and unpretentiousness. 平实. Okay, so that's the 4 normals. It's in here. It's embodied in this word Pu. Okay. All right. Second, embrace smallness. Okay. Notice all the amazing, awesome, and incredible little things in life. Okay, the little things that we could cherish, all right, and appreciate. Okay, do the small things that make a huge difference. You don't have to do big things that make a small difference, right? That could make a small, make a big. But do the small things that will make a huge difference. A smile, a gesture, right? A kind word, etc., etc. Okay, all right. So keep taking small steps in your great journey of life. right? Here's a quote from Dao De Jing. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first small step. Literally means begins beneath the feet. So, 千里之行始于足下. Okay, so that's from chapter 64, which we will hopefully get to this year. All right? Okay, which over time builds up to ambition. That little steps, those tiny steps that begin with the first small step, right? Which over time builds up to an epic journey. Okay, so that's our sacred journey of life. So being small, embrace small, it's okay. It'll get you there. All right. Okay. 3, focus on the essence. Okay. So when we say small, so he's talking about small right here. Okay. All those small. Okay. And then focus on the essence is right here. This section, he's saying, don't become attached or fixated on names and labels. Okay. So, because those are just functions. So, remember the eternal Tao is nameless, right? Yeah, it has no name, right? But know the difference between the essence and its functions. Very important, okay? We don't want to mix up heads and tails, okay? Or head and tail, okay? So, do not confuse names or labels for the essence or the branches for the root. Very important, okay? And lastly, do not be attached to names and labels, okay? So that's the third point. That's how we hold on to the Tao, okay? 4th, develop awareness on knowing where to come to rest. That is to attain the state of perfection. That's the highest level, obviously, okay? So know first step or first. Know when to stop before reaching extreme, right? So that's very basic. You don't have to be a Tao cultivator to do this, right? A lot of ordinary people could achieve this, okay? Even though they don't know the Tao, okay? Right? Okay? So that basically is the most common, okay? Most basic. Now, a little bit more advanced. Once you know when to stop, then next step is to recognize who's your true master. Is it my 6 roots, my 5th or 6th consciousness, or 7th consciousness, or who else, right? Or is there somebody else or something else? Okay. So we have to recognize that. Okay, we have to understand, recognize. Okay, so this is like part of almost like 见性. Okay, we say 明心见性. Okay, it's like that. It's like that, to be awakened to or realize our Buddha nature. So it's like that. Okay, then the next step is to what? Once we understand or recognize or realize or awaken to our true master, that is the Buddha nature, then we have to have the Buddha nature be the leader, be the ruler, be the master, not the 6 roots, 6 consciousness, etc. Okay, so that's the progress. That's most of us who are embarked on that journey of cultivation in the Tao are in this level. Okay, we are trying to, our best, or we'll try, to have our Buddha nature be our master, to get rid of the 3 poisons, the 4 marks of existence, etc., right? All of that, right? Okay, so we're at that level, most of us, cultivators. Okay, then at the highest level, or you can say when we reached the destination, then we are at one or reside with our true nature. Okay, so these are the 4 steps. So that's developing awareness and knowing where to come to rest. All right. Last, remember we say be like water, chapter 8. Well, it's even better than that or higher than that. Be like the ocean. So here is what are some of the ocean traits. So we can be like the ocean if we are humble, lower, and we can accept from all rivers and streams, just like the rain of sweet dew. The greatest is also the most humble. Now, chapter, I think 34, we'll talk a little bit about greatness, okay? Achieving greatness, all right? So we will get more detail, okay? Second, the ocean is vast, tolerant, and can accommodate all. It's magnanimous, okay? Thirdly, third point, you're still able to appreciate everyone and different ideas, even though we may not agree with them, okay? So that's important, okay? Yes, we don't have to agree with people who, let's say, quote unquote, are wrong or are misguided, okay? But we still can appreciate them, all right? And their ideas or where they're coming from. So this is like putting ourselves in their shoes. It's kind of like that, okay? Then we can better understand your side. Now, then we talk about wait, is it going to be chapter 30? Let me see. I'm trying to look at chapter 33. Yeah, chapter 33. We'll talk a little bit more in detail, okay, about this aspect, okay? Knowing others and knowing yourself. Overcoming others and overcoming yourself. This is, okay? So that's chapter 33 we'll get into, all right? Then, lastly, like all the waters of the streams and rivers, returning to the ocean, you also return to the Tao, the original, true, permanent home. So we are like the ocean. Okay, so these are the 5 things that Lao Tzu talked about in how to hold on, embrace the Tao. Okay, now he did talk about other stuff in other chapters about embracing oneness, etc. But those are all from also different areas too. But this 5 plus that is, if we can do these well, follow this, then you can pretty much be certain, quite certain, very high, high probabilities that you are with the Tao. Okay. All right. I'm sorry I took a little bit. Yeah, it took about an hour and 45 minutes. All right. So that concludes this chapter. If I've said things that are wrong or not correct, I ask for the Buddha's and Lao Tzu's forgiveness. Okay. Any questions?
Lecture time.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you when you have a time, so in the future can you explain the world of the great harmony?
Kai, didn't you? Weren't you going to talk about that?
And the essence of the Tao.
We probably have to finish the Tao Te Ching first, so that probably won't be until next year at the earliest.
During the class, you can explain it because those are this Confucius Li Ji. You mentioned it today. So can you give us more detail about that?
Okay. Well, all right. That was what Confucius said. Okay, Li Ji. If you guys, well, I mean, unfortunately, probably a lot of people have not read it. The key is okay. So here's where okay. In the Li Ji, or the Book of Rites, okay, Confucius was asked, okay, by, I think it's Yan Hui or somebody like that. I mean, okay, are you guys familiar with the Chinese Text Project? Anybody familiar with that? Here, let me just throw it over. Let me open up here. Let's we'll try. Okay, here. So can you guys see this? I know it's kind of small, but Okay, this is the Chinese. This is from Li Yun. Okay, it's the Li Ji. It's under the Li Ji. Here, it's under the Li Ji volume. Okay, you can say volume or classic. Okay, then Li Ji has many books. Okay, or subdivisions. The book number 9 is Li Yun. Okay, Li Yun. Okay, all right, under Li Ji, book 9, and it's the very first or section, whatever. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can read this. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, this is kind of small because I'm getting it from the internet. Okay, now this is a translation by this guy who also translated all the Confucian classics, also the Tao Te Ching. I mean, so take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes his translation may not be great. Okay, all right, but he's one of the earlier people. He's an English minister. Okay, he's a padre. Okay, Christian minister who went to China to try to spread Christianity, and he ended up, studying and translating all the major Chinese classics. Okay, all right. So it's in here. I know you guys can't see it, but it's right here. The English is right here. Okay, it's right here. James Legge translates when the grand course was pursued. See. So once again, there's because he translated this as the Tao as a course, as a it's you can say it's a way. I mean, so he didn't translate as the great way. Okay, all right. 知行, okay, 行 means to undertake. Okay, in this case, he says it's pursued. Okay, so that translation is not good. Okay, because I don't think he understood what the great Tao means. Okay, so it just means when the great Tao is practiced by everyone and everywhere. Okay, it's common. That's what prevails means. So that's why I prefer the translation when the great Tao prevails in the world. So that means it's prevalent, right? Prevalent. That means it's common. It's everywhere, right? It's being practiced. When I say common, prevalent, everywhere, it means it's being followed, being practiced. So you have to know what the great Tao means, okay, and how it applies, okay. So now in Confucius, when he's explaining this, he's going to very detail level, dealing specifically with human society, humankind. He's not talking. I mean, well, in here, he's talking about the results, or you can say benefits, or the consequences if everybody follows and practices the Tao all over the world. Then these are the results. Okay, so he's not talking about. I mean, obviously the higher level, but the higher level understanding of about following, practicing the Tao is that you will become enlightened, be with your Buddha nature essence, right? I mean, and that's what Lao Tzu was talking about. And simultaneously, you'll have good positive results or consequences, i.e., the rain of the sweet dew. Okay, and the rain of sweet dew would be like what Confucius was talking here about. What the society or the people will choose worthy people, or people of talent and virtue and ability to be their leaders. Their words are going to be true. They will be harmonious with each other. The parents, there will be filial piety, that children will also love their parents, and also parents will treat everybody as their own children, etc., etc. So those are the rain of the sweet dew. Okay, those are the positive or you can say, good consequences if everybody everywhere follows and practices the Tao. So goes right back again to that very first sentence or phrase. Now, the second one, 天下为公, that's very important too. Okay, that's the broad stroke in broadest category. He said, 天下 means literally everything under heaven or under the sun. 为公, now that's difficult to translate. I mean, yes, 为 you can say is, as like, as if, okay, to be, to become, okay. 公 literally has many meanings too, okay. But literally, generally, if you look it up in dictionary, it could mean fair, equal, balanced, okay, balanced, okay, fair, equal, balanced, public, common, okay. So that's why this word it's very broad. So as a matter of fact, if the Tao is practiced and followed by everyone everywhere, then literally you can say 为公, the whole world will be like, you can say, peaceful, or another word to say, in harmony, in total harmony, in complete harmony with everything, with amongst humans, amongst each other, among societies, among family, among friends, among neighbors, among co-workers, among society, among countries, and between humankind and nature. Okay, that would be the highest, broadest level. That's what 为公 could mean. Okay, then you go into more specifics after that. Okay, but all of these, after the first phrase of when the great Tao prevails, all the rest are, you can say, like the rain of the sweet dew. It's like that. The results. Okay, the results, if the whole world, everybody and everywhere practices and follows the Tao, then these are what will result. Okay, and they're more specific, obviously. Confucius was talking about parents, family, about neighbors, about what? About people that nobody will be out of work. All people have talents to contribute. Okay, so we won't have unemployment like today. Okay, or what they call it, underemployment. Okay, and that people, all the families will be harmonious. Children will have filial piety to their parents, and the parents will have love and compassion on their children, and they will treat everybody like their own children, right? And that widows, people who, let's say, have no spouses, people who have no parents, or people who are disabled, okay, they will all have work or a purpose. They will not be neglected. Okay. And then even society is so peaceful such that even if you drop treasure, or I don't know, $1 million or gold or whatever, a ton of gold on the street, people will not pick it up and take it as their own. It'll still be there the next day, the next week, the next month, next year. Okay? So that there is no need for greed. People are content. Well, we'll talk about that in chapter 33 also. That's very important. Okay? All right? Okay? Also, there's no need because people are content. Everybody that needs work will find work, or will have work, or will have a place, you can say. Will have a place at the table. So there is no need for selfishness, for selfish gains at the expense of others. Okay, so therefore no scheming, no selfish schemes. Okay, likewise, there are no need for robbers. There will no robbers, no thieves. Okay, so therefore you can leave your doors and windows unlocked, either at night or when you're away. Okay, so that's what the rain of the sweet dew, implies, or the examples of that. So that's what the world of harmony. So it's like utopia, udobang, or we can say paradise on earth, or if you want to use religious context, the kingdom of God on earth. Okay, so but the key, the most important, is the very first phrase. Okay, right here. Sorry, right here. Okay, the very first phrase, and that's what Lao Tzu was talking about in chapter 32. Okay, amongst other chapters, but in 32 especially. Okay. All right. I just did a very quick run through. I'm sorry you guys can't read this, but you guys can look it up. Go to go to the web page ctext.org. Okay, Chinese text, ctext.org, and you can look it up. All right. Okay. Read. I mean, just know that this is one translation. There are many. I think when I use the translation, when the great Tao prevails in the world, I used the translation from, I think it was a Chinese scholar too, very well known. I think it's Lin Yutan. I'm guessing. Okay, don't quote me on that. I mean, it's one of them. Okay, it's from one of the Chinese scholars that translated that phrase. Okay, I think that's what he used, and it makes more sense. Okay, all right. So you guys can look it up.
Thank you.
So I just do this very generally, but understand, actually Lao Tzu and Confucius are talking about the same thing. Lao Tzu just did not go into this detail like Confucius did, right? Under the Book of Rites, okay, or Li Yun, Book 9, okay. But basically he's talking about the key is everybody everywhere have to follow and practice the Tao. And if that's the case, then everything follows. Then what? Everything under heaven is in harmony. Okay? And then he went to more specifics, such as, those who need work will have work. And those who are going to be leaders are worthy because they are talented, they have virtue, they have ability, etc., right? And, everything will be peaceful. You don't have to worry about losing wealth on the streets or whatever. Okay, if you left your iPhone in Grand Central Station, a week later, a month later, a year later, it's still there. Okay. So it just talk about all those little specifics, right? Very specific. Whereas Lao Tzu was talking about he does imply all these things that Confucius said. Okay, Confucius is being more specific because he was being asked, how I think right here, the very first says, what will the practice of the Tao be like, or stuff like that. Okay, so what if you were going to rule a country or something like that. Okay, so anyway, but Lao Tzu is also talking about the other way, the other direction, which is that we individually, personally can achieve enlightenment too. I mean, even though Confucius didn't specifically say it in this context here, okay, in this world of harmony. All right. So this is more, you can say, external, because it deals with the human world, and to some degree, mainly human world, right? Human realm. Whereas Lao Tzu, he didn't go into specifics, but he just talked about the rain of the sweet dew, the gan lu, okay? Dealing with human realm, the human side, but also implies an individual, personal level of achieving enlightenment or achieving greatness. Okay, so all right, so different. Okay, and obviously Lao Tzu didn't go into too much details. Okay, as specific as this. Okay, but they're both essentially talking about the same thing. Basically saying if we all practice and follow the Tao everywhere, then good things will happen to the world, to everybody, and also to ourselves, because we too then can what? Attain greatness, attain enlightenment, attain perfection. Okay? All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Is the Lao Tzu is the Confucius teacher?
Well, now historically they only supposedly, according to historians and scholars, they only met once, right? They only met once, right? So if you want to be strict, technically, Lao Tzu was Confucius was not a disciple of Lao Tzu, if you want to say it that way, okay? All right. But if you look at our lineage of the heavenly mandate, right? Jing Xian, right? We can say that Lao Tzu and Confucius are connected, are linked in that they both had heaven's mandate, and that Lao Tzu was the earlier patriarch who had that mandate, right? Tianming, right? Mandate of the Tao. And then when in that one meeting they had, he passed on, the mandate to Confucius. Now, supposedly the subject of that meeting was Confucius did ask Lao Tzu about the I Ching too, okay, about the I Ching, among other things, but the main topic is I Ching. All right, that's what they say. So, strictly speaking, we shouldn't say Confucius is a disciple of Lao Tzu. We don't need to say that. You can say that Lao Tzu and Confucius independently achieve, or you can say attain enlightenment, right? Without the need. It's different than, let's say, in Buddha, right? Buddha, his first disciple or the first patriarch of Buddhism, Jia Se, right? Jia Se or Mahakasyapa, right? Now, Mahakasyapa was a disciple, right, of Buddha, and he attained enlightenment through Buddha, right? So it was not independent, right? Right? Okay, so that's the difference.